So grateful to be here and very happy to discuss these incredibly important and hard to talk about topics. He has an incredible backbone and staggering moral fiber. Howie is totally committed, completely ethical, totally admirable. No pressure if you can hear this, but honestly, Howie's a hero to me.
John, you joined us before, and it was a pretty incredible kind of testimony you gave, and you just devoted your life to advocacy for child trafficking, and even 9/11 truth. Maybe you could explain to us, in the last decade, what do you think the most challenging parts of coming alive on some of these issues have been?
Probably the hardest thing, and it continues, is just realizing that pretty much everything that I was told and taught since I was in grade school is probably not true. And hello, good evening, and that music had ended a bit abruptly, but no matter. Welcome to the Traffic Report for our final broadcast on UCY. How are you, Catherine and Howie?
Evening, John. Howard?
I thought it's our final two broadcasts.
Well, it might be.
Okay.
I think it could be if we wanted it to be, but
breaking news. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, or we just might go to video next Thursday. I'm not sure. I guess we'll figure that out between now and then. But we're surmounting some of the technical issues. I'm having to keep my earpiece in. I don't know if you heard that or not, but yeah, we're getting there. It's kind of the cuckoo clock will be on the new platform regardless. But yeah, I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days, and I was reviewing some of our 77 shows, which I was pretty amazed that we've done 77 shows, and a little sad about, not that much is changing, but I guess just that we're leaving UCY, and they really, got us going with this, and I'd have to, and I'm sure we'll be doing that pretty much all evening, and it would probably take a couple of shows to thank all the people that have made this possible. And Jules at UCY is definitely one of them, and we will miss her. And I know she's had some health issues, and our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family. And I'll definitely miss the platform and talking with her. And the other big one that stands out, just initially, is Elle Deeds at Open the Primary on Twitter, who I'm pretty sure probably wouldn't have done this without Elle's input. So
nice
to bring us. She kind of brought us all together, and
yeah, it was really just it wasn't anything planned. I had met Elle on Twitter. I didn't know her name. I believe she was still at Open the Primary, and she had set up a couple things, and she wanted to do a Skype call, and I had a lot more time back then, and I would talk to anybody, and sure, you want to do a Skype call? I mean, no, seriously. And, set something up. It didn't happen, and then, it was just one day, we got all together, and she's like, I know this guy, John, and he's been working on this stuff for years. So I was actually like, intimidated because I'm like, that's going back to, May, I'd been in it for like, 5, 6, about 5 months. And, I never I still don't consider myself a researcher. I was not that knowledgeable. And, John was coming on and, talking about the finders and, just, a bunch of different cases. And, I guess I was holding my own or whatever. And then we had an opportunity, after we were talking, and, it all went really well. And then we went on, I don't even know the name of the program. We went on, his name's Josh Anderson, I believe.
Yeah. Jake and DB, they were doing.
Oh, Jake Anderson. Yeah.
And DB, DB were doing. Yeah. The anti-media. I think the anti-media.
Yeah. I couldn't connect on my phone, and I got in there a little bit. It was basically like, they were talking. I hold signs, and and they gave us, there was an open slot on UCY, and they gave us an opportunity to do a show, and said, yeah, sure, we'll try anything.
It was.
I mean, this little how it happened.
A little scary. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on quite a few shows. Honestly, that's
I just in reviewing it, I just can't believe the ground that we've covered. And I mean, I wish it wasn't. I wish that wasn't the case, but I think we've covered like every institution that I could think of. I'm sure there's a few that we haven't covered, but John came up with the idea that trying to take this to the next level. Hopefully we've let's be perfectly honest. Like right now, and it's been this way for a little while. Like the time slot is very difficult for both of us.
It's past my bedtime too. Not that it matters.
Right, but for a long time. And
thank God you're on the left-hand coast out there. That's
right. 8 o'clock to my bedtime, though. So.
Over on the right-hand coast.
But I mean. Yeah, but I want to, when I started personally, when I started doing the show, like I wasn't even, I wasn't working. I mean, I was like 24/7 on Twitter and just, doing what I do. And, and then, my job, like I work on Tuesday nights, and it's, it's for months, it's been like trying to get home, in time, and, and I don't have time, and honestly, I don't have time, to put in the preparation that I would like. And, and it's just become, it's not the best time slot. It's not the best form. Yeah. But for us to have an opportunity, and also sometimes an hour is too long, and most of the time an hour is not long enough. And to have an opportunity, to have a guest, if we had if we could do it all over again and have, Tim Hotham on the show. I mean, we could have sat there and just, made it an afternoon and just, talked, and gone through 3 hours, who knows how long. But, so it did, just having a different platform where there are no time constraints. And, if there's a show we want to do, we'll try and keep it. I think we'll try and keep it, to some schedule, or, kind of put out when we'll do it. But, if we want to do a 2-hour show, we'll do a 2-hour show. If we want to do, a 45-minute show.
And to do special reports, because there's so much of this, and there's so many people, and I mean, and we're working off Twitter, and we're working off Facebook, and a lot of really amazing people are really not on Twitter, and vice versa. And so I think this is going to allow us to have them, even if it's for an hour or half an hour, whenever it is, to come on and get their message out. And Neely is one person that just sticks out.
But building a YouTube file. I mean, the fact that we don't have our own, YouTube presence. I used to have a bit of a YouTube presence until I was kicked off, and I just want to give. Yeah, I want to give a shout.
You just get kicked off everywhere, you know.
Yeah, Titus. Well, yeah, and I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet today that Titus Frost lost his YouTube channel, and we don't run in the same circles, but we've met, and we started out in Pizzagate together, and since have gone our separate ways, and he puts a lot into it, and he definitely put a lot into his YouTube channel, and I don't know why it was taken away.
And tell you the truth, it's kind of scary, going to another platform, because of that, and YouTube and Facebook are both included. I just ran into this week. I guess I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know if it's our content on Facebook, but they have limited the amount that we can share the promos for the show to groups, which is
what
I think ridiculous. Yeah, I'm restricted until Friday, and we were getting some very good, and we still do. I mean, they're the people that we can tag, are very good about sharing it. So we are getting it, but being able to share it to groups like Pizzagate Exposed and For the Children Militia and several. I mean, I'm members of, God, I don't know, probably 20 groups, and to get that promo out really, got us, pretty wide dissemination and people listening to this stuff. So it's a little, but we'll do the best we can. We'll see how it goes. And I've seen some stuff that's on YouTube that, if they're not getting pulled down, I don't see where we would.
This is the thing. I have a feeling that things are going to change pretty quickly. And these are just small indicators, and people can. So, did anyone see that The View threw Hillary and Bill underneath the bus?
No, but I love it. I love that.
They did. The Earth literally stopped turning on its axis. Even Whoopi didn't say anything, but she did add to the conversation. Anyway. So The View threw Hillary and Bill underneath the bus, and Facebook threw Hillary underneath the bus because Hillary was saying that she was charged more for her ads on Facebook than Trump was, and that's why she lost. And so Facebook evidently did something to show that no, in fact, she was not charged more than Trump for her Facebook ads. So Facebook threw Hillary underneath the bus. So it's starting to topple. She's losing her ground. She's losing her contacts. And, hey, when the Clinton Foundation dried up, well, so did all the dollars with it. And,
Yeah. And what I'm really interested in, and I haven't been able to get any more information, as far as news, is that the information that the Podesta brothers are named in one of the sealed, and they're A and B in one of the sealed indictments, which, and I know Tony's got to be one, because he is definitely running for cover. His business is gone, and it's obvious that, he's trying to, transfer money out. He's behaving like a guilty person would.
Sure.
But,
so. I mean, there's been a lot of things that have happened, since last May,
My God, yeah, and that was kind of hitting me.
And Julian Assange is going for Hillary on his Twitter account too. I forgot about that. What am I talking about? That's the big one. Good cripe.
Really, Julian? Come on. I mean, he's got to have at least Wiener's laptop. So I want to see what's on Wiener's laptop. I would hope, but going back to where we started.
That's probably the only bargaining chip that he has. You know what I mean? It's probably the only bargaining chip that he has. That's probably his lifeline. I don't know. I just speculation on my part.
With everything they've done, I would hope that while Trump's president, they're not going to try to crucify Julian Assange, because Trump has to realize that he was a big part in getting some information out that helped him win the election. I would hope he realizes that. But.
honestly, that's not the point. It isn't the point. But whistleblowers are supposed to be protected under our Constitution.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
but we know that was never the case before Trump. But Obama screwed over more whistleblowers than I think any other president. So
right. And there, and with all that. Listen, I'm at a place. I remember. I think it was the Boston rally. When like 40,000 people hit the street, Antifa was there, and do you remember that? Do you remember that back in it was in the summer? Yeah. There was some type. Yeah. There was some type of like small gathering for freedom of speech. I forget who was there. They had like
40,000. Okay.
No, but 40,000 people poured out in the streets in Boston, and it was on a Saturday, and I was like, I was pretty upset. I'm like, we're losing. I felt like, they're taking to the streets. Like, why aren't we taking to the streets and all this stuff? But I'm at a place now where the Russia investigation. It's just everything. As far as Donald Trump goes, I feel like it's under control. Obviously the midterm elections in November will be really very important. But the main thing is with, and that, we've seen different events, suck the air out of the balloon, that, we have to stay on course with, pedogate. We have to work 10 times harder to, 100, not 10 times, 1,000 times harder to get, the children, the sexually abused children in the news, to get it out there, to keep informing people, because, all they need is one school shooting, whether it was whatever happened there, and I don't even know, but I'm not so convinced of that whole thing. But you see how everything just goes to gun control, and NRA,
of course.
And it's like, and we have to wait that out until it sort of, dies down, and then we can start, talking about these things. I mean, with all the, with all the major cases, even like a Larry Nassar, it was out there for a little while, but we didn't capitalize on that moment. We didn't capitalize on that momentum enough that it's like, hey, it's not just Larry Nassar, but it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like and that's what to me that's what deep state does. That's why and they can control the narrative of which direction they want the country to go.
Well, George Soros hires a bunch of people also.
Sure. Well,
and you're dealing, until they, and I'm hoping this executive order will be part of what will dismantle that process. But as long as you've got billionaires out there, they're going to use that money and influence to hold on to the system that's most advantageous.
Well, you
for
get
them.
Michael Moore, and you get Cher, and you get the MK Ultra out there, and you really have a mix going.
Yeah, it's a sewer.
And the thing is, we're definitely not done, because I've just paying attention that there's always something going down in May. May's always a big month, and I don't think it's for any other reason that it's the last time that everyone's sort of paying attention before they go on summer vacation. So and it really struck me when they captured Osama bin Laden. It happened like, I think it was like May 11th, somewhere the middle of May, and it's like when these big things, and then that's what they leave. When everyone checks out, for the summer, and nothing ever happens in the summer. Nothing ever major. No,
And just on that note, the Navy SEALs that were on that raid, I think there's 2 of them that are still alive out of 16.
Right? Yeah, the helicopter. Right? Yeah. They captured. Yeah, they captured Osama bin Laden in Islam and dropped his body in the.
Do the statistics on that one. The chances of 18 out of 18 Navy SEAls.
Yeah, my favorite thing. We're going to digress, but I feel like digressing.
That and Benghazi.
Well, wait a second. I mean,
I've always thought Benghazi was payment for that. Always. But that's just my 2 cents. Go ahead.
They talked over and over again, news report after news report. They took all these computer hard drive, and they said there was a treasure trove of information. I mean, that's the quote. Everyone repeated the same thing. Computer, they came back with the hard drives and, on Al Qaeda and terrorism, a treasure trove. And,
well, like Bill Cooper said, why didn't they just send CNN in? Because they found him in a cave, right before 9/11. So,
Lord.
Right. And we just have to stem these, events and, stay the course and, because eventually something, I guess, Larry Nassar would be like the biggest, as far as people paying attention to, but, that was treated as an isolated case. Obviously a Harvey Weinstein and Hollywood, and then they turn it around and it's sexual harassment, ignoring, even like, comes to mind a Reese Witherspoon who said that she was
I was going to say
abused at 16, and there have been some others. It's like, this is the thing that they do not want people thinking about. We have the subject matter that they do not want, because if it comes out what's really going on, people are going to lose, for lack of a better term, or for lack of a better phrase, are going to lose their shit.
And in my opinion, that's the one issue, and it's the only issue that's going to do it. And I can't believe people are still talking about this and wondering about, well, what can we do to, your kids are being raped. You can fix that, because if you don't have a society anyway. And it's the only issue that motivates people to do anything and jump across the party lines and all the divisions, that there are. But even people in the so-called, awakened community, they're still like, well, what issue should we push? It's like, what? What? There is no other issue. There really isn't. So
something, John. I'm just going to throw this in there. I'm a survivor, and the people listening probably know that because of my testimony before. But I live like one. Ask Howard. When my dogs are outside, I do not call my dogs by their name, because I don't want anyone. I don't want my neighbors. I don't want anyone to know what my dogs' names are. When my dogs are outside, doggy, they come. We have it worked out.
They know their mother's voice.
Well, no, they know how I am. They know that I don't call them by their name outside. But like, I have had our house cased before. Who it was, I don't know. I don't know if it was from associations in the past, or if it's people that are robbing the area. But my dogs performed very nicely in that instant. But I live like that. That's the way that I live. And even if I go somewhere, this is so bizarre. My husband and I were going to go visit this elderly man, a couple, he and his wife, and I'm getting ready to go. And I thought, should I wear my boots that if I need to run really fast, or should I wear my boots in case I need to kick somebody's ass? I picked the boots that in case I needed to kick somebody's ass. I am just going to go visit this elderly couple in the middle of nowhere. There's no chance of danger, but that's the way I think.
Yeah, and it's justified. I mean, the people that are currently under threat, like our guest from a few shows ago that hasn't been able to appear, and the private investigator that's working with her. I mean, to yourself, to other survivors that have been on this program, and let's take this opportunity, or I want to take this opportunity to thank them, because from Becky to Missy to Catherine to B, who have had the courage to come on this program and share their stories, and put themselves at risk, and they are at risk. I'm going to say this as well too, John. I did everything that I could think of to make myself and my family safe. I put out there my family is law enforcement. I have written every representative I could possibly think of. I wrote the Secretary of the United States. Dianne Feinstein has a number for us. She has our information. She has lots of letters from me and other people, because I needed to, help make myself safe. So I had to do all those things, and then I had to put it out there that I did it. Yeah, and I think visibility.
And pray for the best.
Yeah, but we need a place. We need a forum, a much bigger. We need a platform where survivors can speak, and I'm sure a lot of survivors don't want to speak. They don't want to talk. They don't want to talk about what happened to them. I'm sure there's guilt and shame and everything that goes along with it.
No, but they do. They do want to talk about it.
I mean, it's not like I would never be that callous.
That's changing, and the Nassar case did a lot for that, and these. Sure. Seeing those, some minor children standing up in court, and
Howard, if you can liken it to this, if you ever had a breakup with a girlfriend, and after you broke up with that girlfriend, all you could talk about was her, because you were so, anxious and upset and emotional and everything. It's the same thing with this subject as well. It takes a while for this because it's a private thing. It's,
sure,
extremely private. But once they get wound up, then they're like, a lover that broke up, and they're wound up and ready to.
But even after, even in the environment, we haven't had enough survivors speaking up, and or they haven't. Their voices have not been made loud enough, or they don't know where to go. I want to speak up. Like, where do I go? This is the thing, because once people, if you had 1 million people, in a gathering, and he said, how many of you have been sexually abused as a child? And if the hands started to go up, like that, these powerful statements, we don't, we know they're out there. And it's always been a plea of mine that, please, if you have it in you, please speak up.
Yeah.
Because we're missing that piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
I said on Twitter today that 1 in 4 female children will have been sexually assaulted in some form before the age of 18. Do you have children? Do your children have friends? Do your children have more than 4 friends? Get involved.
But we're I'm talking about survivors.
Survivors speaking up. I know.
Literally speaking up and saying, this is what's going on. This is what happened to me. Because, we could have millions of these stories.
Yeah.
Millions of them.
Yeah.
But we don't.
Yeah.
Right. We don't.
And that's that's what we're doing. I know there are other people doing that, and providing platforms for.
Right. Well, there is also.
It will happen. But if we're going to put an end to this, then
you're going to need millions of people. Yeah.
The sooner people start speaking up, and I know it will happen. I know it will happen in my lifetime. But the sooner people start speaking up and the survivors speaking up and getting loud and getting angry and demanding action, then, because not that they're all isolated incidences and it was, you know, a family friend, an uncle, someone at the school, a karate instructor, whatever. But when they say, like, wait a second, I was being trafficked. I was being trafficked around to different people, and people knew about this.
Yep. And it's improving, and I just don't, you know, and I probably feel like you feel it's not fast enough, but we're fighting a lot of major forces, and you're not going to see the major media in this country. That's not going to be the venue. So you have to turn to smaller venues like ourselves and like other internet type based shows and alternative media that are giving a voice to these people. And I think the survivors are going to create their own vehicle, you know. They're starting to.
Yep. I mean, I see it. And also, one of the things about survivors speaking up, they have pressures from family members that, you know, they will not be happy about that being brought out. A lot of different things like that, you know. And so, say you just go online and you don't bother with your family or anything like that. But if you have something that's worthy of saying and to be heard, you're going to be attacked because they have people that are on social media attacking people that are making a difference.
That's what they do. Yeah. And I believe that that's a organized effort.
It is. It absolutely is.
And it's these are very sick and very large, entities, like the groups that are trying to normalize pedophilia, like the Kinsey Institute that sits up on Indiana University that's normalizing pedophilia. Been doing it for years. I mean, these are very large and organized forces that. We have a lot to overcome. But I go back to the Nassar case. I don't think anything will do that quicker and better than those minor children standing up in open court and giving their victim impact statements. And it was just, I mean, it was riveting, and hopefully that's bleeding into the culture, and that's where that's going to come from. And I believe, you know, some of these survivors that we worked with are forming nonprofit organizations that could probably replace the National Center, you know, with not a whole lot of effort, and that'll be a venue for them. And it's just, none of it's happening quick enough. But
we should do a show on nonprofits that are just about this subject matter alone, and what they actually do, what their services actually are, because I bet you it ends up to being a big fat zero, just like what I was showing you today. Remember, I tweeted you links to begin with, and then I showed you the Sacramento chapter.
There's a lot of
that has the pedo sign.
There's nonprofits out there that are part of the problem. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, all they do is inform. You know, they go inform, and
it's like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I wouldn't. I wouldn't rely on them for anything. You know, I just, you know, and she's still working for them. A convicted child trafficker, you know, for Alert Sense, Laura Gaylor. That was one of our shows. You know, we talked about Haiti, and you know, she's basically a convicted child trafficker with an attorney who was a convicted child trafficker.
That's exactly right. Yes, he was
sheltered and put in place by the Clinton Foundation, and nobody's gone to jail for that yet. You know,
her attorney was wanted by 2 other countries.
Yeah,
2 other countries for trafficking children. Trafficking. It wasn't just children. One wasn't children.
Yeah. So we have a long way to go, but you know, you can't walk into the woods for 4 years and walk out in 4 months. You know, I realize that, but I I think a lot of things can happen, and one of the things, the most important thing that hasn't happened yet, is somebody needs to be prosecuted, whether it's the Podesta brothers, and we talked about that a little bit. There supposedly is an indictment that they are A and B in that sealed indictment, and they need to unseal that son of a bitch and get them into court. And that's, to me, that's going to be another tidal wave of people coming forward. Because we talked about the danger involved to a lot of survivors sharing their stories, which is real and exists, and until they start seeing people going to jail for this, what's to soothe their, okay, Larry Nassar is going to jail, but then we take that case. What about the other 20 or 30 people that aided and abetted this and were involved in it,
and the other millions that are just as guilty as he is? Okay, Can I say this?
You can say whatever you want, Catherine.
Well, so we're going to lock them all up. We're going to lock them all up. We will run out of room for locking everybody up. I say that some of these cases, and Nassar perhaps may be one of them, these people need to get the death penalty, and they need to not plea bargain with these people, and people need to start getting the death penalty. And anybody who wants to argue that the death penalty is not a deterrent, they are full of it, because how many people do you see plea bargain to take the death penalty off of the table? They'll give you the dead body, they'll give you everything, but take that death penalty off the table. No, they need to put it on the table, and they need to exercise it right away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not. Listen, we're not. But, I know, but that's in a perfect world, Catherine. We're not. We're before we can get to that point, we have to get people thinking about this. Death penalty. I mean, the death penalty thing will be argued back and forth. They don't even execute people.
Multiple murderers sit on death row for an average of 20 years.
I live in California. We have the longest living death row inmates.
Yeah, let's keep it practical. I mean, the weather's, the weather, at least on the East Coast and through most of the country, not where you're at, but it's about to start changing. And summertime, there's all kinds of gatherings all over, and it just as I'm saying to put the onus on survivors to come up and speak out. Once again, I'm putting the onus on everybody that's paying attention to this and do something physical in the streets, off of social media, in the real world. And and I'm
what about that petition? Who was going to talk about the petition?
Is
this a good time? I don't know.
We'll talk about the petition, but it's well past time that we start. And I have to. I'm going to get back into it also, and I've been basically waiting and trying to figure out what I'm going to do, but we have to do things. Whether it's pass out pamphlets, talk to people, hold a sign, whatever you want to do. I mean, we have to be literally like the town
criers. How are you designed to hold me?
Well, and you need to focus too. And I'm going to be keeping a track of this petition and seeing how. I think an open secret that one of the huge part in exposing what's going on in Hollywood with the pedophile culture there. Matt Valentinus, Gabe Hoffman, they're pushing this petition. We've been pushing it. We're going to push it. We're going to keep track of it. Mm-hmm. But if we can't get 150,000 signatures, that's at this point, after everything that's happened, you really have to wonder, what kind of progress or what it's going to take.
Well, for people that aren't familiar, why don't you tell them about the petition?
The petition is to create a presidential commission on child sexual abuse, and there has never been one. There needs to be one. There needs to be a federal entity that's all they do. And
right.
they direct our Justice Department and our FBI and all
CPS.
The many facets of the federal government and state and local governments. They need to use their federal jurisdiction to do this, and people will get behind that. A lot of people, the federal government has their noses in places where it doesn't belong, but this is a place where it belongs. You need to have a centralized, standardized, entity that's dealing with this problem, and that's all they do. And on a federal level, and have that filter down. And make regulations and laws that.
Well, California in particular needs the feds to step in because they've made so many dangerous new laws in the past year.
Yeah.
So
you mean like releasing all the sex offenders, like one of those laws? Yeah.
And the sex offenders, unless you're a level 4, you don't have to register for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm.
Well, they're all Democrats and they can vote.
Level 4 is a murder or a kidnap. Right. That's a level 4.
Right. Yeah. Right. But the United but as we've talked about, Australia has just
offense. Sorry.
Australia has just finished a 5-year, $500 million, investigation into institutionalized child sex abuse. Now, this is not some kind of fantasy thing. Oh, some type of commission. I mean, this has happened in Australia. They did it.
I love it.
$500 million. They interviewed 8,000 survivors. Okay, interviewed. They've identified. They broke it down. Different institutions, religious institutions.
Yeah. By the way, they also have number 3 at the Vatican currently on trial.
Right.
When does that happen here? When can we try just the Archbishop of Baltimore for what went on, and the 80 or so pedophiles that they're still? I think some of them are still that have never been charged. That admitted it. They admitted it.
So why people are arguing about gun control and Russia and racism,
healthcare,
and Black Lives Matters, they can find this, that, and the other thing, and we don't have, but nobody, oh my God, Americans.
Well, 1 in 4 of your female children are being sexually assaulted, and 1 in 6 of your male children are being sexually assaulted before they turn 18 years old.
And what it comes down to, and what it is, there's no big money behind exposing child sexual abuse.
That's for
all those other,
Well, how many people, and how many people, in high places would be exposed? I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's with the corrupt society, and I'll just take a minute to talk about that. You need to, and we'll talk about Tim Hotham and that case, which is, has all of it. It has the corruption, a murder of Rod Hotham, and what it was about was Senator William Cohen, that a one of the central figures in the brownstoning and pedophile blackmail of our elected officials, and we can't just Larry Nassar is bad, and you can advocate for that, but if you're not advocating for, and this is so cool that I'll mention that while we're talking about this, that Matt Valentinas, an Open Secret, Gabe Hoffman, they are meeting with Tim Hotham, and I can't believe there'd be any other reason for that other than they're going to do a documentary on that case. And this is the and we started this, and thank goodness, it was pretty obvious to us when we started, and because some of our shows have been just about the corruption that allows this to continue and allows it to exist, and is part and parcel of this whole system. I mean, it's one big circle of corruption that the child trafficking is part of this. The drug trafficking, the DynCorp, the Clinton Foundation, our Congress, for God's sake. It's they're all our learning institutions. So yeah, you have to. We can't just tunnel vision on a particular case, of child sexual abuse like NASA or anything else. I mean, this is much bigger than that. Thank goodness because the work that Matt and Gabe have done, has cracked the Hollywood thing open. And who knows if that didn't lead to Weinstein being given up, to cover, what was coming about. But they've done a really poor job of it. And I think, I'm not sure, I need to find out, but I think an open secret has been, they've made a deal with Netflix or some large entity to get that out to even more people, which is great. The Keepers story on Netflix, that's huge. The Catholic Church, child sexual abuse in Baltimore, that's out there. So that's waking a lot of people up.
John, hold on for a second, Catherine. I just want to say, getting back to Tim Hotham, just on a personal level, I had been around him on on Twitter, and I followed the story a little bit, but like for him, like our show was the first time he ever spoke out. Rod was murdered in the 1992, John?
Yeah.
1991. And Tim's been on this, trying to get this out. He's never been interviewed. He's never been interviewed about the story. And I was like, I mean, it was like surreal. Like, and he was, like thanking us for giving him an opportunity. And I was like, man, I wish I had, a million people listening to you right now. I'm like, I mean, I can't, that's a surreal, that was a surreal moment for me, because I mean, it's like, wow, I'm talking, this is like,
yeah, he called me
6 degrees, 6 degrees of separation to a sitting U.S. senator.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was,
and the one case, if it was pursued properly, that could break this wide open. That's another.
Sure. But just the fact, just the fact that the first time he was ever interviewed was on our show.
And Tim and Tracy, and let me, while we're doing this, they have a Facebook page. Please go to it. They have a store. They're trying to, keep their head above water. And Tim put the hours and hours that he puts into getting the information out. He's trying to put a book together, about the case to get that out. But thank God, and I'm pretty sure that Matt and Gabe can assist him in doing that, because he needs just somebody to let him take a breath, so he can work on this full time and work with somebody who can get the information out. And he's going to be back on this show and other shows. Trish Negron, another. I got to give a shout out to the work Trish has done, and to help this show and to get. She's ready to put Tim on anytime, but he's just literally. I mean, and it's a lot of people in this country, and that's another battle that we're fighting. People are just trying to keep their head above water in this corrupt economy that we have, and there's a lot of things going on, but these people have not been daunted in any way, and they continue. And the survivors that we're talking about, there's an energy there that really has yet to be fully tapped and exposed. And I think once that gets rolling, and it is rolling, it's unstoppable. It's an irresistible force, and we're going to live, and we do. I think we already live in a different country. And so we continue, down that road, and it's just getting to know these people, And Tim, he's a friend now. I mean, I get to call him, on the weekends, and hear how it's going, and all of you, and then talking to Catherine or talking to Missy or V or just all these people, Neely. I mean, I just feel really, really honored to have these wonderful people as friends, as a part of a, the whole traffic report thing it's kind of become a big family. And, it's really, it's just, leaves me speechless a lot of the time. And I just hope I can live up to, doing what I need to do to, get this information out. And
you do, John, and we do. But it's time to take this to a different level. I think we can, with a little tweaking, it can become much, much bigger. And
I'm excited. I'm excited with the new.
Yeah, and we can become something where we could have a viewership, in the thousands.
Yeah, and crowdsource the truth. I mean, look at what they've done. Jason Goodman and George Webb. And
right.
I've got I really want to beat George Webb at times because he's exposed.
Oh shoot! They took down Dr. Corsi. They took down YouTube.
Really,
took down Dr. Corsi. Yes.
Twitter.
No, YouTube.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
He can't post any. His channel is still up there, but he can't post anymore.
Yeah. And maybe that's why George does what he does. But he exposed all this wonderful stuff about DynCorp and how they're trafficking children and organs and drugs and everything. And then he kind of just backs off on the child thing. And I was trying to encourage him to lead with that, George. But maybe he's got his reasons for doing that, and just to keep getting the information out until it's safe to do so. But I don't really believe in that. Let him take us down, because the atmosphere has changed, and these companies are going to find out. And their bottom line is money anyway. But if they continue to censor people, they're going to pay a cost for that, and money, which is the only thing they really understand. And we can't be deterred, with they might ban us or take down our channel or whatever. Yeah, well, so what? Then we start another one, and we continue, going in that direction. If we're holding back on the information that we're trying to get out, that for what? That basically kills any chance we have to do what we're trying to do. So the
bad part is that we're not talking about cars or a renewable resource. We're talking about our children, and
oh my God,
they are in danger, and we just cannot do enough, and we can't get enough people involved. And whatever a person can think of to do, Howard thought of taking signs out and saying Pizzagate is real. And I saw that picture on Twitter, and I said to myself, I want to meet this guy. I love this guy. And I thought, I'll never meet him. And then I met him, and
I had the same. When I guess Elle just kind of introduced us, and I saw how he was doing. I was like, wow, that's something that if we could get a few thousand people doing, that would make a really big impact. But
I always had a dream that, not a dream, but I mean, my wish was that people would that it would kind of catch fire, and there would be some more people doing this. And
it's on my bucket list to come and hold a sign with you in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
Howard.
and I was upset because I got to meet Howie in person, and we went to the vigil for Seth Rich in D.C., and I didn't have a sign to hold, and he's had beer bottles broken over his head in Philadelphia, and
and he's made TMZ and gone to the biggest Catholic church.
I wore a helmet in D.C. I wore.
Yeah, I mean, for me that was a bit of a deterrent, and but and then by the time I was ready to get going again, winter, not for nothing, winter is tough. I can't I can't go around and.
You could lose a finger or something, or
it's like chilly, but now I mean it's actually the weather it's been like in the 40s and 50s. Today was pretty nice. It had a tinge of spring. in the air. So, it's coming, and, summertime, it's there's music festival. I mean, there's gatherings everywhere for everything. And let me tell you something, man, no matter what they're going for, whether it's a concert, an auto show, a food festival, whatever it is, man, you stand out there and you just throw something different at. I'm telling you, people notice that stuff, because it's like, who is this who would do this? Yeah. Who would stand there? Yeah, and
look at
powerful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at the time.
Hold on, we're running out of time. No, I'm sorry. I just want to throw this in. I mean, we're almost a week away from the Academy Awards, and we're going to start pushing. We're going to think another hijack the Academy Awards on social media, and getting people to just push their best pedo wood, material out there. So, that's just one thing I want to throw in there, and the tweets will be coming out, and
it looks like we'll be doing a two-parter for our farewell show, because I didn't cover. I know I've got more thank yous to do. I wanted to talk about some of the individual cases, starting with Adrian Jones and his wonderful grandmother Judy Conway. So I guess we figured it out. We'll do part 2 on Thursday. Does that sound?
Yeah, I know we would.
and just I'll use this opportunity just to tell you, both you two, especially getting Catherine on board with the show, and it's just a lot. It feels complete again. I really missed Elle, and I still do in a lot of ways, but having that female perspective, to balance Howie and I out is really good. But just both of you, I couldn't respect you guys any more than I do, and I just feel really grateful to be working with people that are so passionate and gifted, and
I mean, for me, meeting you and your knowledge base and tracking this stuff, things, and I was intimidated by that. But going back to meeting Catherine and having a survivor who was so knowledgeable, embrace me on social media very, very early on. I was it was it was extremely, extremely humbling. And now to have the show, I mean, I look forward to what we will be able to do. With a different platform, and change when it comes to this stuff, change is good. And I feel very positive about it.
I've listened to our shows and I like them, and I've learned. I've enjoyed listening to them. I think that we have something to add to what is happening in the United States in particular, especially about child sexual abuse. Yeah. And so.
And I know we've made a difference. That's a very good. It may not be in hundreds of people, but I know 5 or 6 that are. Right. And I just can't wait to tell Neely's story, and I'm just hoping and praying that all that goes and she's on here talking about how she got her kids back. So good place to stop. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thursday it is.
Finale.
Yeah, the finale.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.